Good afternoon. For a very brief moment, I had the pleasure of being a member of the IA marketing team. This dynamic group included Bernard, Zena, Jessica, Teresa, Tara, and Mary. The mission of this group was to market products and services produced during the strategic years 1 through 4. They also set out to measure the impact of these products and services by gathering comments and feedback and evaluating event attendance. The presentation will look at the working group's tasks over the past year, which included updates to the welcome book and slides, lab tours and PI posters, 2 IAMB cleanup days in May and October, the IAMB Strategic Corner, the What's New Brown Bag events for POTS, SharePoint, and Travel. They hosted the 3rd annual DIR Appreciation Day and offered services and assistance to other strategic working groups. I now turn things over to Mary for the next few slides.
Just a little background, since this is our last year of having a strategic group for the market. For several years, the IAMB has been welcoming new principal investigators, tenure track investigators, and core directors to a welcome session, which provides a slide presentation and a welcome guide. This is also to help them with the transition from academia or organizational groups outside of the government to be able to come and feel that they're a little bit more prepared to step into the division of intramural research. The welcoming committee is consisting of all the sections under the Office of the Chief, the General Administration Group, the Finance and Data Systems, and also the Space and Facilities Group. This year, we updated the SharePoint and the organizational charts in both the welcome book and the slide presentation. We had 3 presentations this year. The first one was February 19th with Dr. Swenson, and the second was with Dr. Gregory Aleutian from the Cell Biology and Physiology Center on February 24th. At the end of this year, in December, we were able to catch the new director of the IPSC Corps on December 3rd. Also, we have a new sickle cell branch chief coming, Dr. Hans Ackerman, and even though we have not presented, we plan to do a welcome session for him this Thursday. We have also followed up after these sessions with surveys to get their feedback on how they feel about these presentations. Most of them are very favorable with the information they receive, and that they feel that meeting the new staff face-to-face is a reward for them so they can associate what and who they are talking to. This, they believe, leads to a better working relationship. Did that take too long? Okay. Also, this past year, we've had an all-hands meeting, and special scientific speakers are invited from DIR to present at our all-hands meeting, just what happened earlier this morning at 11 o'clock. Once these sessions are over, after about 2 weeks, a Word document is sent to each of the scientists, a little bit about their position and their research. We ask them to okay this and plan a poster for them. We forward this to the art department to get a design, and then once it comes back, we then present it to the speaker at one of the all-hands. Last year, Elizabeth Murphy, Dr. Elizabeth, presented her research, and also Alan Ramali presented his research at the end of 2013 last year. But due to downsizing of the art department, their posters were not available until the beginning of 2014. But in 2014, we did have a speaker, Dr. Sachs, who presented in March, and his wording was sent, and his wording was sent to him, and he approved this. This went through the same procedure of going to the art department. He then reapproved it, and it was resubmitted. Dr. Sachs was so happy to hear that his poster was ready that once he heard, he walked right over, and it was wrapped up. He took the paper off, handed me the paper, and walked out so proud of his poster. He just kept looking at it. It is now hanging in his current office, so I believe that he was very happy. We also had another presentation in June with Dr. Keir Newman. He received the wording and accepted it. It went to the art department. It was approved. Although with Dr. Keir Newman, we delivered his poster to him. He was very excited, was looking around the room to see where he could post it. But also with his art design, he was a little concerned that maybe the art department had not captured what he was looking for in the DNA process. They did come through. He was quite thrilled with how the art department had worked with
us. Okay. As part of our continued effort to work alongside the researchers, the IAMarketing group set up tours to give IAMB staff the opportunity to tour the labs and see what the researchers have done. It was our hope that the staff are made able to feel like they work well with the researchers, and we hope that it had a positive impact. Our first tour was Dr. Michael Sack. 10 people attended. It was on May 28th, and his focus is on modifications of proteins that play pivotal roles in metabolism and mitochondrial functions. And this is actually a picture that Lisa took. Yeah. The next tour was June 18th, Dr. Warren Letter's tour. 10 people attended as well. And his lab focuses on biology, signaling, and molecular regulation of key family cytokines. This is also a picture of this. Next was Dr. Keir Newman. It was on August 20th. 10 people attended as well. Dr. Newman's laboratory employs single molecule visualization and manipulation techniques to answer the fundamental questions concerning enzyme function and regulation. And last but not least is Dr. James Buster Hawkins. This tour was on October 9th, and 12 people attended. Dr. Hawkins oversees the animal program at NHLBI. It provides care and technical services for research animals. The program also houses the animal surgery and resources. In this picture, we were actually able to see a live surgery going on, which we thought was pretty neat. The program also houses the murine phenotyping core under the direction of Dr. Danielle Springer. The core carries out physiological and behavioral testing in a diversity of mouse models for NHLBI and other institutes. There's more photos on the L Drive if anybody is interested. The marketing team feels the tours are very beneficial to IAMB staff and should be continued. We surveyed the attendees after every tour to get feedback, and all but one of the tours we had positive feedback. From that one tour, it was suggested that the lab be a little more prepared for the tour by having more experiments, projects, and more people in the lab. But all in all, the tours have been great.
As we do every year, we schedule 2 cleanup days this year so that we don't drown in our own trash computer files. The first cleanup day, we had someone from the IT department come out and give suggestions and ideas as to how we should clean up files, move files from one drive to another and the like. And we followed up after his visit by doing just that, cleaning up files and moving files from one drive to another. The second cleanup day was more related to paper files, and bins were brought in for recycling, for trash and whatnot, and everybody cleaned out their files and their file drawers and got as much as they can. The only suggestion that we have about this is that in the future, the second cleanup day occur after the end of year rush. It would make it a lot easier for everyone, probably to have time to do it, concentrate on it after the end of year rush. Oh, hi, fella.
I'm from the IMB action poster. The wording and graphics was approved by management in September of 2014. The layout and design was done by John Rahill, which was an intern in space and facilities. And it was approved by management in November and submitted to art department to finalize poster December 2014. And this is the poster now that we have to move alongside of the other posters in the conference room. That we had our third annual DRR Appreciation Day, which was held October 21st of this year. It's held in the 10 FAES Terrace, which is located behind the FAES bookstore. Kayla O'Sullivan was in attendance, and this event was open to all of the NHLBI and DRR staff. The attendance on this one was not as high as the function that we held prior to the furlough. We think that it would be better if the next one was held in conjunction with another meeting, such as the Olaf Award, or to get a better attendance. So, but everyone had fun. Didn't drink as much coffee as we thought, but it was pretty good.
One of the other endeavors of our group is to implement the IAMB Strategic Corner. Each quarter we issue an IAMB newsletter, which is an electronic publication that the IAMB different members contribute to, and we put together and we send it out to the DIR via email. And so we figured this would be another way to communicate with the DIR to tell them about what our strategic planning efforts have entailed. And so through that, we had an article in 3 out of the 4 quarterly publications. One was announcing the different strategic planning groups at the beginning of this year. And then we had another one which talked about the DIR Customer Appreciation Day, which was going to be held. And then we had one just in the most recent publication, which listed at the closeout of our strategic planning year, and to look for an upcoming video which will highlight the accomplishments that we've talked about during our time together today. We are exploring ways to be able to track readership of the newsletter, so that will also help us to ascertain whether the DIR community is reading the newsletter and is finding out about these updates through the newsletter. And so we're looking to into exploring opportunities of ways that we can advertise the newsletter, or different formats that we can publish it. So one of the newest ideas is to put it on the intranet rather than sending it out as a PDF file. So that will be a way to track readership, and we'll be able to better get the information as far as who is actually reading the newsletter, and find out whether our communication efforts have been successful. Other additional events and projects that we have worked on as a team. Mary assisted the general administration section with preparations for the travel meeting, which was held back in March with the DIR support staff. Zena and Jessica played a big part in helping the property section with the IT reuse day in July. This event was created in year 1 of our strategic plan, our first strategic plan. It is held annually for the DIR, and it's a great way to help labs save money because they can find laptops rather than spending money on new laptops. And it also has an environmental impact because we can reuse the equipment. And so the property section was undergoing some changes right at that time. So Zena and Jessica played a role in helping to make that event a success. There were about 20 people in attendance at that event, and most of the equipment was claimed. The IAMB brochure that you may see in the foyer, we had looked at different ways to market this brochure that was updated by the previous marketing team. And so you'll see it out in the foyer on our in front of our main entrance for visitors that they can grab it. We also had different copies that were distributed to the general administration team for the administrative officers and administrative technicians to hand out when they greet new staff upon arrival. And we also put a little information in the newsletter about the brochure, as well as finding different ways to communicate the message, which entails the services that we offer from the IAMB. And the brown bag session is on hold until 2015. One of the main topics that we had looked to present was on POTS, and with the procurement workshops that the purchasing team currently implements, there was some overlap. So for the goal for 2015 and 2016 in strengthening communication between administrative and scientific staff, we'll look to implement a brown bag session if it's makes sense at that time to have a session which updates the support staff or other DIR staff on initiatives from the IAMB. And then as far as task maintenance, as Bobby had mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, the marketing team will be sunsetting as of this year because the Office of the Branch Chief has expanded and is taking on marketing as one of the programs that we will oversee in the OBC. And so we thank the marketing team, especially Zena and Mary, for their leadership as our team has helped to carry on the important strategic initiatives that were developed during the first years of the strategic plan. And so we look forward to implementing the different products and services that you have talked about today as well, as we move some of those forward into future years. And that concludes our presentation. Does anyone have any questions for our group? So you could direct those to Chuck and I, and we will look at ways. Jessica had mentioned that the total number of attendees for each of those tours, and that's only because that's the limit. So they were all maxed out from IAMB staff, but we need to look into different ways to include other staff as well to get a good mix between IAMB staff who want to go and see, because the lab tours are a great way to connect with the science and to really see what we're supporting. So just let Chuck and I know if there's anybody outside of IAMB who has mentioned to you that they're interested in joining in a lab tour.